Well, surprise. It is first pitch time here on a Thursday, 11 o'clock East Coast time. Why? Because we got nothing but day baseball, and we want to try to get to you guys as soon as possible, break down a few of these games, come up with a couple of best bets, and of course, as always, see if we can answer some questions that you guys have in the chat room. So welcome in, a happy Thursday here. Dan is somewhere not near a camera. That is why he is not in this seat. However, we do have two of the best handicappers at WagerTalk ready to answer your Major League Baseball questions here today as we welcome back in two of the best, two of the hottest guys. They refuse to lose. Adam Trigger, 12-1 MLB run right now. 20-2 all baseball run. He's absolutely crushing it. He's ready to roll, as is the legend himself, number one when it comes to MLB and profits and just about everything else there. TB in the house. So, gentlemen, we've got a lot of day baseball here on a Thursday, so let's dive into it. So we're going to start with you, Trig, and we're going to go to the Bronx with the Yanks taking on Baltimore here. Now, the rumor is Judge wanted to play last night, could have played last night, but it was Aaron Boone that put the kibosh on that. I would imagine in a divisional game here against the team right up their ass is probably going to play here tonight. Does it matter, though, to you if he's in the lineup or doesn't go here today?
Oh, I mean, I would definitely like to see him in the lineup. If, just talking about my handicap, I'm going to make the case for the Yankees. If you like the Yankees, you want to see Judge here for a couple of reasons. One, he's Aaron Judge. Of course, you always want him in the lineup, but he has really good numbers. It's a small sample, but good numbers against Cole Irvin, and he's someone that should hit Cole Irvin, and I'll get to that in a minute. As far as the series is considered, you love to see it, right? You got a little bit of juice in this series. We got a little rivalry brewing. We've got, Judge obviously missed last night because he got hit in the hand, and then he was, we had some retaliation. Just old school baseball, Joe. Stuff as a baseball fan, you get fired up to see. Don't want to see anyone get hurt, but that's the type of stuff that gets me fired up. The Orioles have a crazy streak on the line here. They've won 21 straight series against the AL East. That's pretty wild, right? They've won 21. They've won or pushed, so that means they haven't lost. They've either split or won the last 21 series against an AL East opponent. That's on the line because, of course, this series is 1-1. It's only a 3-game set, and the deciding game is today. So if they're to make it 22 without going unbeaten, they're going to have to win today, which I think is a tough task. Although the Orioles 18-7 against the AL East this season, and they've just dominated this division the last couple of years. The Yankees are 10-11 against the AL East. I don't think that means much. It's a small sample, and again, they've lost a lot of close games. I thought it was really interesting that the Yankees are now 1-5 in extra inning games this year. I think there's a lot of randomness to extra innings now, ever since they started throwing ghost runners out there at second base. So I almost think that waters down what's already just insane numbers for the Yankees as it is. I've said this a number of times on Wager Talk programming already this year. I think the Yankees are going to win the AL. I think they're, if they're not the best team in baseball, I certainly think you could make a case for them being. They're one of a couple. And, the Orioles are showing some signs of regression for me. And I'll be more specific on that and talk about why. I think the Orioles, they can't just continue to just spit in the face of adversity at every turn, right? I really thought coming into this year that, now we've got some big time expectations. We've got all these young guys who have really, never experienced failure at any level. They the Gunnar Hendersons, Rushman, this whole crew just tore through the minors. Norfolk won AAA last year. They haven't really experienced much adversity. And what happens this year? They come out and they're 48-25, and it doesn't even matter what Felix Bautista done for the year. They just seem to figure it out. A couple pitchers go down earlier in the year, and guys like Albert Suarez, who me and Tokyo Brandon watched in KBO and Japanese baseball for 5 years. He just comes out and he's a mainstay in the starting rotation for the Orioles now. It's stuff like that they've been able to pull off, but I don't think they can continue to overcome the big, like the death blow injuries that keep happening to this team. Kyle Bradish probably done for the year. Another reliever, Danny Colomb, is more than likely done for the year. We won't see him until September if he plays again this year. Jordan Westburg goes down. He's probably back in a day or two, but still, he was out of the lineup yesterday with a hip injury. And then you've got, this is also a team, Joe. Remember, they called up their prized possession and he went 1 for 30, right? That's like a little bit of a failure that they've been able to overcome. Jackson Holliday didn't pan out. Heston Kjerstad didn't really pan out, although you could argue that he didn't have, as much of an opportunity, but still, like, all of these things didn't work out for the Orioles, and yet here they are, 48-25, but that's going to catch up with them at some point. I don't think they can continue to win at this rate, and so where they're priced in the market now, I think you've got to look to play against them. Luis Gil's just an absolute stud. Been talking about him for weeks. Joe, our good friend Dan Lifshatz, I was talking to him before I came on air, made a really good point. He's like, why not just bet Luis Gil to win the AL Rookie of the Year? He's minus 125 right now, and the field is so weak. Like, there's no one in that field that's going to beat him unless they completely go off or he gets hurt or starts getting shelled, and I don't think that's the latter's going to happen. His last 9 starts, all Yankees wins. He's 8-0 with a 1.14 ERA. He faced the Orioles earlier this year, pitched into the 7th, 6 1/3 of shutout ball, gave up 1 hit. I mean, the guy is just phenomenal. I don't know how you're betting against him right now. I would have been on him here. I thought minus 150 was a little steep, all things considered, but I mean, maybe it's warranted. He leads Major League Baseball with an opponent batting average against of a $142, and also opponent OPS lowest in the league. So that, I mean, I think it's a lock that he wins the Rookie of the Year, barring some craziness, and he's only minus 125. I think it's probable that he wins today because, as I talked at the top, Cole Irvin, he's been far better than I thought he would be, but I figured out the way he's done it is just pepper the zone with strikes. He just throws strike after strike after strike and lets hitters get themselves out. The problem is the hitters on the Yankees don't get themselves out that often. And that's probably why that in 3 career starts against the Yanks, Cole Irvin's got an 8.31 ERA. And he is the type of lefty that someone like Aaron Judge just abuses, which is why I would really want Judge in the lineup here. Same thing with Stanton. This is the kind of guy that those two will, go 3 for 4 and hit a couple bombs. Small sample size. They have really good numbers against Irvin so far in their career. I think it's only like a combined 12 at bats, but still, and in a game like this, he's not just going to get by throwing strikes. You've got some intensity now. You've got a little rivalry. No one's going to be not focused here for this one. Like, this is as big of a sort of game as you're going to find mid-June after what's happened the last 2 nights. I don't see how a focused Yankees team doesn't knock around Irvin. And who wants to bet against Gil right now? He's been that good. So Yankees minus 150 is the way I would look here in what I think is probably the biggest game on the board today.
Yeah, and I would imagine, Trigger, you're thinking this number probably going to adjust here as the Judge news comes out one way or the other.
Yeah, and Joe, if Westberg's probably out again for the Orioles, or if he's not in the lineup, that's another. He's been as consistent of a hitter as they've had. So, those two things could skew this 20 to 30 cents. So, yeah, maybe minus 150 is some value based on, once we see lineups.
I agree. Too much of a pitching advantage, I think, early in this game, too, not to look at the first 5 as well. So Yankees, 4 o'clock Eastern time this afternoon. Do us a favor, those of you joining us here today live. G. Hurt in the house. Tyler's here. Professor Chris, been looking on the back of milk cartons for you, my man. Always a pleasure. Robert S. in the house. Boss 702. Thank you guys for stopping by. Give us that thumbs up. We'd appreciate it as we get ready to talk. Another early game coming up here today, TV, and you're going to take a look at. I just don't know who the hell's going to pitch in this game if the bullpens have to get involved because both teams have pretty much emptied it, especially Tampa, as they are going to be looking taking on the Twins here.